Hi everyone, welcome to episode 7 of the Little Bee Knitting, Spinning and Crochet podcast. My name is Kirsty and I am the Little Bee podcast. So first of all, a huge apology for being a week late. I know it's been another 3-weeker since my last episode. I do have a very good excuse for that, mind you, so I'm hoping that will get me off the hook with some of you, because I know some of you have been kind of going, where's your next episode? But I did put a video out, briefly, a very quick one on my Instagram to say that it was going to be a week late last weekend. So, where to start? First of all, I should probably say like where you can find me and stuff like that in case you're all curious. So on Ravelry, my Ravelry username is little-b. I'll put that all in the down bar. And I've been having a lot of issues with Ravelry recently, and basically what's happened is on my phone and my tablet I find it very difficult to access the forums, so that's why I've not had a huge presence on there, but I found a kind of a trick to get on and be able to access it and actually partake in all the conversations and stuff. So my presence will be a wee bit more noted going forward now that I've managed to get that to work. That's both on my tablet and on my phone, so I'll be able to access the forum when I'm at, well, I say when I'm at work, but I really mean like on my lunch break and stuff like that, and like I don't really use my laptop when I'm in the house, so I'll be able to access it when I'm home as well. So everyone should kind of jump on that forum, and the forum I'm talking about is the Little Bee podcast forum. Jump on there, get yourselves into some of the chats. They have been a wee bit dormant recently, and I'm going to say that's all kind of down to me for not having the biggest presence on there. So please feel free to jump in, start a thread, jump in on some of the previous threads that are already there, and just come say hi. Add me as well as a friend if you want. I normally just add straight back regardless. So again, that's little b, little-b, and then it's the Little Bee podcast as the forum. You can also find me on Instagram as littlebkirsty, all one word. Again, I'll put everything in the down bar below. My presence on Instagram is a lot more than my presence kind of like anywhere else on the internet, because I love Instagram. I am literally an Instagram whore. I'm on there all the time. I love checking out what everyone else is putting up as well, seeing what they're working on, what they're doing with their everyday life. So feel free to add me on there. If you have a private account, I'll try to get from the description you put, whether you're like a knitter or not, to add back, because I put a lot of stuff up with like my cats and like my fitness and stuff like that, so I get a lot of like random ads. So if you are a knitter and you want added back, either send me a personal message, leave a comment on one of my pictures, or even if you've just got in your description that you're like obsessed with knitting like I am, then I'm more likely just going to add you back as well. That's pretty much where you can find me. I don't really give out my personal Facebook account, and that's not against anyone that watches the podcast. It's really for like really close friends and my family more than anything, so please don't be offended. So now that we've got that out of the way, I thought we would start this podcast with just like a brief update about what's been happening in my life, because it has been 3 weeks since you guys have heard from me. Work has been mental. It's just go basically with what I'm doing in work, and I've never really gone into what I do. I work for a health insurance company, which is ironic considering the health I actually have. But they've been so good. Like if I have a really bad day, they're kind of understanding about it. So that's been really mental and has been a little bit draining as well. So when I get home, I don't want to do anything. So I've been taking it quite easy the last couple of weeks, and for some of you that don't realise, I actually live with my parents. I had to move back home a couple of years ago, and I can't afford to move out. I don't want to pay someone else's mortgage. I am saving up to get my own mortgage. So people think it's quite a cushy life, but I have a lot of monthly outings, like not outings as in going out, but monthly outs. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. So, but people think I have quite a cushy life because I live with my parents, but it's not like that at all. I have a lot of things coming out my bank account every month, so I couldn't move out. I can't afford it. So I'm putting money away each month in the hopes of getting my own mortgage eventually. So the point of that, there was a point, believe it or not, is that my parents have been down in England for the last week and I've been looking after the cats. There's currently 2 asleep on my bed. I would show you, but my bedroom is actually a disgrace at the moment. I'm going to clean up when this video is uploading. So I've been looking after the cats, and that's had to involve working around their feeding time. So it's quite true when people say that you don't own a cat owns you. So they have me well trained, like seriously well trained. And before anyone asks, I'm drinking Iron Brew. I don't know. You're not going to see it. I'm going to end up tipping it over my laptop. Good old Scottish favourite. Iron Brew. The good orange stuff. But I'm drinking it out of a reusable Starbucks cup. It cost me like £1, like £1 it cost me for this cup, and it's plastic. You can put it in the microwave. Well, I don't know if you can put it in the microwave, but you can certainly put it in your dishwasher. For anyone that's new to the podcast, you'll probably find a lot of other knitting podcasters like drink a lot of tea and talk about all these extraordinary teas and stuff. And don't get me wrong, I really enjoy a nice cup of tea. Whether it's Builder's Brew everyday tea for the caffeine, yay caffeine, or fruity teas are nice, but I think they smell a lot better than they taste. So I can appreciate a really good cup of tea. I'm not saying I don't, but on my podcast, unless I am really tired or really cold, you'll probably just see me drinking Iron Brew or Fanta. Moving on. Oh yeah, I want to say a huge thanks to everyone that's been really nice. If you've been following me on my Instagram account, you'll have seen that I was at Edinburgh Yarn Festival yesterday, which was truly awesome. But when I got home, I unfortunately got really, really sick. I was in a lot of pain. I was curled up in my bed, literally hugging my stomach. I was in so much pain, and I was just so ill. And people tend to forget that I may be 26. Believe it or not, I am actually still 26, not quite 27. Give me until April, and then I'll be 27. People seem to just look at me and think, oh, she's a relatively young, healthy looking woman. My insides are fighting against me every single day. I can get really sick really quickly and I can be in a lot of pain. I was actually considering going up to A&E last night to try and get some sort of pain relief, like IV steroids and stuff like that, because my Crohn's disease just really was attacking me, something awful last night. And I put, sounds pure weird, I put a picture on Instagram. It was just literally me kind of with my duvet up to about here, saying how like my night had pretty much been ruined. I felt absolutely horrific. I was in so much pain. I felt so bad last night. And so many people just kind of jumped on and like, oh my god, I hope you're okay, like feel better soon, hugs and stuff like that. And it's so nice when people are kind of like, oh my god, like I really hope you're okay. It kind of gave me warm fuzzy feelings and stuff like that, especially considering I was feeling so horrific, and the fact that everyone kind of cares so much is really nice as well. Like when you've got a health condition like what I do and what a lot of other people have, or any chronic medical condition that has no cure, you learn very quickly that people lose their patience. I've lost a lot of friends over the years because of it. Well, I say friends, I mean friends over the years because of it. A lot of relationships have broken down because of it as well, and I mean that in a family relationship, a friend relationship, or a partner relationship. A lot of that has broken down over the years, and it's upsetting for me, but I've got past the point of caring now that if someone cares, they'll still stick around, they'll still be sympathetic, they're never going to turn around to me and say, oh, buck up, like, get used to it, get over it, that kind of thing. So everyone's been so nice to me recently and been like, oh, I really hope you're okay. But I think people do tend to forget that I have this condition. I don't constantly like throw it in their face and go like that, oh, remember I'm sick and stuff like that, but I kind of feel that I would like people to understand that sometimes I have to cancel plans, and I do genuinely sometimes, and I really do mean very rarely, get down in the dumps and feel really sorry for myself, which was just last night completely. But to kind of summarise that wee rant, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone that was really caring and making sure I was okay last night. I'm feeling a bit better this morning. I am exhausted from feeling so ill and being in so much pain. I've cancelled my plans to be out tonight with a friend, and I'm literally gonna upload this video and then I'm gonna jump into my jammies, I'm gonna stick some movies on, and I'm just gonna sit in it and let my body recover. I'm no longer feeling sorry for myself, I know what my body requires now, which is for me to rest and build back up my energy. So, with all of that being said, it's now time to get on to the knitting. And, well, actually no crochet today, so if there's any crocheters, I do apologise. I have no crochet whatsoever. I have not touched my crochet blanket. I have not done any amigurumi, but I'm hoping to get some done soon. But that being said, we're going to start with my faux, which are my finished objects. And for anyone that has followed my Instagram account, since the last one, this might look awfully familiar because I did show you a hat, but that one was too small and I was absolutely gutted. So I made a new Star Wars hat and I made it bigger. Let's see if we can move back. I extended the brim, or the rib, sorry, and I put a bigger gap in here and then just spaced it out. So because there is a bigger brim, I don't really like folding it up, so I keep it like that. And when I wear them, I literally now just have a big slouchy hat, and it's pretty cool. So let's see. So you can see here how slouchy that hat is. And I've been wearing this non-stop. There are some Star Wars enthusiasts in my work, and you can kind of see them when I'm walking down the corridor. They're like, what's that? Like, did she make that? And I'm like, yes I did. With a huge cheeser on my face, by the way. So Star Wars hat is complete. If anyone seen me at Edinburgh Yarn Festival yesterday, I was wearing it, and it was kind of like a way for people to realise it was me. So if they were looking for me, they knew to kind of look out for the hat. Given it is my second colour work project, sorry, I need to fix the hair now. Given it is my second colour work project, I am extremely happy with this. I have a long way to go in the terms of colour work with the stranding that I was doing. I think that's the right one. I want to say steeking, but that is a completely different thing altogether. So you can see here where I have carried the yarn over for my stitches. Obviously here there's no yarn carried over, and then you can see it going down, and then back to the brim there's no yarn carried over. Oh, I think I've killed my laptop. Yeah, my battery died. 2 seconds. Sorry, I need to put on the charger. So I am so proud of this. I am so happy with it. I can't stop wearing it. But I now realise I seem to be so critical of my own work. I can wear the hat, but it's loose. So what happened was, this was all done on a 4.5, and I really should have done this on a 3.5 or a 4mm needle. Instead, the full thing is knitted in a 4.5. So I know over time this is just going to get looser and looser and looser. and that's slightly upsetting. So I was wondering, I put out on Instagram what people thought would be best to do. Would it be best to cut the yarn and just take it all out and then pick up the stitches and knit it again? But I don't even know if that's actually possible, because the stitches would be the wrong way around. Because I knitted it, you know what I mean? I knit it going that way up. Whereas if I was to cut the rib off, I would then be knitting it that way and up. So I don't actually know if this is possible, but a few people have came back and said, well, why don't you just get elastic thread and sew it in to a few of the stitches, like for maybe like half an inch or something around the entire hat. So that is a possibility I am looking into. I'm in no rush just now because I can still wear the hat, but I should probably do it sooner rather than later so it's not stretched out even more than it is. But all I can say is I adore this hat. Like, I actually can't stop wearing it. People are just getting so sick of seeing me in a hat now. Like, I don't normally go out without a hat now. It's ridiculous. So I'm trying to find places to put stuff. I've got so much stuff to show you guys. So the second faux, I am so glad is finally done. I started the Nurmilitu shawl after the last podcast, and it is a lovely pattern. But I really hate garter stitch. I don't mind purling. I know a lot of people have an issue with purling. They think it's just a nuisance, and that if you can just knit like every row, it's awesome. But I don't know, I get really bored. And I guess given how many rows is actually garter stitch, and then how few is the pattern for the lace, and then more garter stitch, more lace, I don't know, I got bored. I like the finished result, but the pattern itself, for me, I need something that's got a lot to keep me distracted and keep my brain ticking over. So something with maybe not a complicated pattern, but a pattern nonetheless. Keeps my brain going, keeps me entertained and excited to actually do the project. What really didn't happen was I misread the project. I was sat in work. This is where I've really been working on this, on my lunch break. And so I should have finished my project here. So we move all the way back and lean back in my chair. Yeah, so I should have finished this project about here. I then kept on going to here. So I'm going to try and take a picture when I'm blocking just to show how big this is gotten. So I misread the pattern. So like I said, I should have cast off here. I'm actually going to put it the right way around. So that's 3 lace repeats. So one here, next one up here, and then the third one here. I misread it, as I've said about 5 bazillion times, and I continued on. And I played a serious game of yarn chicken, and it was intense. Every time I got to a row, I was so happy. Like, every time I got to the end of the row, I was so happy. I was like, I made it. And then I would look at the pattern and go, oh my goodness, I've got like 6 more rows to go. And this went on for the entire time, and it got to the point where people in my work who are not yarny people at all were like, how's it getting on? Is it okay? Did you get it? To the point that I literally cast off with still a fair chunk of yarn. I think I could probably get 2 minis out of that little chunk. And took a picture of the shawl off the needles with the needles on it, so you could see that it wasn't on the needles, and then the yarn, and I sent it to these people. Like, I won the game of yarn chicken, and they were so happy for me. They're just like, yay, because they could see how I was kind of like, is it gonna work? Am I gonna get it? Intense game of yarn chicken, people, seriously. So yeah, Nurmilitu is finished, and I will put the designer in the down bar. Her name, I'm sure, is Heidi Alander, but don't quote me on that until you read the description. But I'm kind of wishing the lace pattern was slightly bigger. So here it is here. If I stretch it out, you should be able to see it. But I kind of wish the lace was just a wee bit bigger, but I like it all the same, and it's so big now. It is literally my wingspan. If I, not that you can see this, but I am literally, yep, wingspan and pulling backwards so I'm choking myself. I'm bigger. So it's going to be a big shawl, scarf, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know whether to gift it to someone or keep it, because I have quite a few things that I've made and they live in a drawer, so excuse me. But yeah, so I have two faux for the week, which I'm actually pretty proud of. I say week, I really mean 3 weeks. But you have no idea how happy I am to have this cast off and done. But whenever I cast something off, I don't know about anyone else, but whenever I cast off anything, I kind of I go through this phase where I just no idea what I want to cast on. So I spent, yesterday was Friday, I spent Thursday night, I spent a good hour trying to find something to cast on. And it was more for the train journeys and sitting at our Edinburgh Yarn Festival than anything. Because I had two trains to get to Edinburgh Yarn Festival and 2 trains home. Oh, which was a lot of train time, I swear. But I needed something for the train, and I had originally thought throughout the week that I'll just start another sock. You can hear from my voice how not enthusiastic I was about this. But you know what? Once it's started, it's not that bad, but it is a bit of mindless knitting. So I actually cast on 2 things. I cast on a hat, which is just an acrylic yarn, and it's glitter, and it's just going to be something to throw on my head. So I'll maybe show that next time. But so yeah, I cast on another sock, which still maybe not too enthusiastic about, but hey ho, it's something to do. And I've done a much bigger cuff. Right, let's see if we can get it this way. I've done a much bigger cuff than I normally would. So that's just over 2 inches of cuff. And it's just a 2x2 rib, that's all it is. Just simple 2x2. And I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows into the leg of the sock. And I spent the whole train journey when I was working on the cuff going, now should I do a pattern, should I maybe do the Hermione socks? And I tried to get onto Ravelry to get the Hermione pattern downloaded onto my phone, and I don't know what it is with that. So if anyone's new to the podcast, you will grasp very quickly that my camera has about a 20 to 23 minute segment, and then it cuts off. So, as I was saying, I tried to download the Hermione everyday socks onto my phone, but for some reason the train line I was on, the connection you could get to the internet was just horrific. I was trying to use my mobile data, it wasn't even the train's Wi-Fi, which by the way I had to pay for, so cross country, get that sorted. I paid a fortune for that train ticket, I should not have to pay for Wi-Fi as well. So I was trying to get on my mobile data, and whatever was happening, I was just out of service the entire time. I'm surprised I could send a couple of text messages when I did, everything went into a queue. So it's fair to say I did not get the Hermione pattern. And now I'm 5 rows in, so I could tinker back and do the Hermione pattern. And the yarn itself is not that extreme. I'm pretty sure the Hermione pattern would show up very well in these socks. So I may still do that just for something different, to keep my mind busy and make them more interesting than anything. I now have 2 pairs of hand knitted socks, and they are just plain Janes, proper plain and simple. not had to do it much thinking, and wham bang, thank you ma'am, I've got a pair of socks. But the yarn I am using is another Knit Global yarn, and I found a tag for it that I have now subsequently lost in my bedroom, because like I said, it's actually a disgrace. This is what happens when you don't have the energy to tidy from being so sick. But it's another Knit Global, and I do know it's 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. But I can't tell you the name of this yarn. I know there's about 400 metres in it, and I know I can definitely get 2 socks out of it, but I'm making a slightly bigger sock, so my cuff is already an inch longer than my last pair. The leg is going to be a wee bit longer than the last pair as well, and I'm doing a pattern. I know the pattern's got nothing to do with how much yarn you use, but hey ho. I learned a lesson last time I made socks, and I've gone down a needle size. I'm now on a 2.5. Because when I used the 2.75, I felt that it was too gapey. There was too much, how do other people explain this? Words and me not going so well this week. Here's the socks here. That was not done on purpose. I just looked over and I seen the last pair I made. So these were made on, and no, my sock blocker is not over there either, so I can't even show you on a sock blocker. So these were on the 2.75s, and they're good, they fit, they're comfortable, but they are, holy is not the word, there are no holes in these socks, but gapey, there's a gap in the stitches that doesn't need to be there. They're not loose on the foot, but they could be a wee bit more snug for a sock. I am a complete novice when you're trying to describe socks. I have no idea what I'm trying to say. I know what I mean in my head because I understand myself. I do not expect you to understand what gobbledygook I'm coming out with right now, but if you do, you deserve a medal. But yeah, so these were done on a 2.75 and these are getting done on a 2.5 because I'm just curious to see the difference more than anything. And I'll show you the difference in the rib already. So that's my rib from here to here, which, excuse me a second, is just over an inch. And then this is just over, I have a measuring tape tattooed on my finger. So in case you're wondering why I'm holding it up to my finger, I have a measuring tape tattooed on there. So that's just over an inch, and then this is just over 2 inches. So already you can see the difference in the rib. If I actually held it up, that'd probably be better. So from rib to rib, so you can see the difference. So it's going to be really interesting to see what kind of sock I like making and what kind of sock I like wearing. I don't know, I'm such a newbie. But I did spot something yesterday at Edinburgh Yarn Festival which has really caught my attention, and I'm hoping you guys can help. I am so new to this that all I have ever done is the bog standard slip stitch heel, and I like it. I know it's reinforced, so the wear is better. Yeah, if I got that right. And the lovely Charlotte of Charlotte Knits has gifted me the Fish Lips Kiss heel, so that's one I'm going to try. But there was a heel at Edinburgh Yarn Festival and it was a star. So it kind of it started in the centre like that, and then it kind of, oh, I don't know how to even try and show you. But yeah, so it kind of starred out from the centre. How do you do that? Somebody point me in the direction of how to do this kind of star heel, and I will be forever grateful because it looked amazing. It looked so awesome. Is it an afterthought heel? Is it, like, how do you do it? It was contrasting colours as well. Now I've never done a contrasting colour. This is literally what I do. It's a block colour, block yarn, and I'm not saying I'm going to be jumping in at the deep end with all my socks, but see, yesterday I want to make that pair of socks. I really do. So I'm pretty happy I cast on a second sock. I didn't think I'd see myself do it for a while, but I may yet be able to enter Kristen's year-long box of socks, Cal. Watch this space, folks. So, one whip down, there's another whip, and I am ashamed to admit that this whip is 3 or 4 years old. I cast on when I lived in Dumbarton, which was... I moved back 2 years ago, so that shows you how old this is, and I'm pretty sure I started it a year before I had to move back home. If not, even longer than that, even before that. Oh, I dropped the yarn. I don't think there's ever going to be a podcast episode where I don't drop something on the floor. I'm trying to pick it up with my foot. There we go. So, I'll show you the pattern first. I love this pattern, and the only reason it's taken me so long, it's got nothing to do with the pattern whatsoever. It's just the fact that it's a square by square at a time. I get bored really easily. It's a lot of squares. There is... How many squares are there? There are 210 squares. I'm on 435. I'm on 137. I've made a progress of 4 squares in the last 24 hours. But I still love the pattern. So this is it. It was a paid for pattern when I got it. It's the entrelac shawl with tassels. And I'm going to pronounce the designer wrong. Helis. I'll zoom in, you can see. So that's the designer. And then that's the shawl. I don't know if my camera just cut off or not. No, I think it's still recording. So that's the shawl there. Now, it's an entrelac shawl. So it's square by square upon square. And I am making it, I don't know how well you can make out the colours, but I am making it in that yarn, which is Nurmilitu yarn, which cost me at that point £13 for the ball of yarn. And I got 2. So 26 quid for a shawl. And someone seen me making it like a couple of years ago and was just like, can you make me one in those colours? I was like, it'll probably cost you about 40 quid. And they just looked at me. I was like, the yarn itself is 26 and it's taken me this long to get this far for one myself. It's fair to say they cancelled their order, and it's fair to say I was very glad because I'm still working on mine. What would I be like if I was working on one for someone else? It's a pattern and a project you need to think about. Sorry, I really need to stop slouching when I'm recording. It's a pattern and a project I feel you need to think about, but it's also one that once you get into the swing of it, it's quite... it's one of those ones you don't have to worry about. You can just pick it up, work on it, put it back down, and not have to look at your pattern. As long as you know which row of squares you're on, you can just pick it back up. So obviously I hadn't picked this up in about a year, so I had to sit and count each individual square to find out where I was in the pattern. So now that I know, now I am halfway through a row of squares. Not halfway into a square, I'm halfway through a row of squares, so I can't really show this off very well. But I'll try my best. It's all scrunched up as well. So, the colours are looking a bit muted on my camera. And I'm hoping as well, once it's done and I get the contrasting, what do you call that? I-cord bind off. Once I get the contrasting I-cord bind off in a lighter colour, it will just make the colours pop like really well. So we've got so many different colours. There's orange and purple and teal and blue, green, red, orange, I think I said orange. It's a lovely project, but like I say, I think I'm on like square 137 and I need to get to 210, and then I've got the I-cord bind off, then I've got the tassels. You can kind of see why it's taken me so many years. I would pick this up, I would make a dent in about 10 squares, and then I'd be like, oh my god, I can't do anymore. And I would just put it down. and then 6 months would pass, I'd pick it back up, I'd make a dent. It's kind of like your cozy memories blanket. You can do so much, then you need to put it down. I'm assuming it's like your cozy memories blanket. I haven't made one, and given the fact I'm working on this, I don't think I will be making one for a while. Now, if you really like Intralec, I think you will love this pattern. The finished result is amazing. I can't wait to actually have it done. I am hoping the Noro wool will soften up a bit. I'm sure once I put it in a soak, it will soften up extremely well, and it will be a pleasure to wear. And it's actually going to be massive. And given the time of year, if I do not have this finished by Christmas, you can all come and kick my butt, because this is not going to be finished. This is not going to be still on the needles next year. This will be finished this year, and it will be finished for Christmas. It better be. But I'm just glad I pulled it back out. I have a second ball because I dropped it again. I'm not doing so well today. So I only have like that much of the first ball, and then I need to move on to the second ball, and I know it's somewhere in my bedroom. I think it's on top of my wardrobe, which is always fun trying to get big massive boxes that weigh a ton down by yourself. I always feel like I'm going to get squashed. But yeah, so that's my second whip, and I took it to Costa with me this morning, and I sat and made a dent of 1 square. So what it is every square is 10 stitches long and 10 stitches high. So that's 100 stitches per square, and I've got 210 squares to do. So you can kind of see how it has taken me so long to get it done, and you can kind of see why after so many squares you just want to touch another project, you want to pick something else up, you want to not be looking at a project that's taking so long to complete. But now that it's back out of retirement, and in a really lovely project bag actually, I've never shown you guys this bag. I won this bag from a raffle that someone was doing at a craft fair that I had a table at one year, and the girl that actually designed the bag, I was so nice, like, it's how generous of her to donate this beautiful bag. So this is the bag in its entirety, and then this is the back. So there's some hand stitching going on up the top, and then this lovely pattern material here with a lovely contrasting gingham pattern here, and it's just plain on the inside, just a lovely plain lining, and it's a drawstring. I love this project bag. I've had it. Oh, I think I've had it. 22. Had it for years now. And I love it. I love it to pieces. So that's my whips and my foes done. Sorry, I'm just getting comfy, hence the squeaking. Whips and foes are done, and now what I'm going to cast on. I have printed off a whole bunch of baby patterns, baby jumpers and stuff like that. Some like wee no, not booties is not the right word, bonnets and stuff. So I am in between my hat, my sock and my scarf. I am going to be casting on some baby things because Kirsty's now only got 14 weeks. And when I say Kirsty, for any new viewers, I do not mean myself. Very confusing. My best friend and I have the exact same name, the exact same first name, and she is pregnant at the moment, and it's my goddaughter, and I am going to basically smother this baby in beautiful handmade things. What's going on with my camera? I have a setup so that I can see when the 20-minute segment kind of kicks in, so I just don't continue talking to myself. And my camera goes to this black screen, which is normally when the 20-minute segment thing happens, but then it just flashes back on. Right, okay, I think there's something wrong with my camera. But yeah, so Kirsty has 14 weeks left till her due date, and I have 3 excuse me. I have 3 really nice patterns looked out for just jumpers, and there's one of those patterns with a matching a bonnet. So I am really looking forward to casting those on, and I am going to be doing it in acrylic, and I know a few people are a bit of a yarn snob, but given the fact that Kirsty is a hardworking mum, and I am not saying all the other mums out there are not hardworking when it comes to being a mum. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not about to start World War III with that sentence. It's just, I want to make her life a wee bit easier, because she is going to be working, she's going to be stressed, she's going to have a brand new baby, and the last thing she needs to worry about is whether or not she can put this jumper in the wash. So it's been made in acrylic, and I don't care what anyone else says. To me, it makes sense. When they're older, makes things out of really nice yarn. If you have made it and it's for your child, you then know how to care for that wool. You know how to put that in the wash and how to treat it. If you've made it for someone else, you can't expect them to remember the washing instructions. Oh, you've got to hand wash it, but you've got a baby running around going absolutely crazy, or screaming at you. The last thing you want to have to worry about is having to hand wash an item. So I'm making it in acrylic yarn. I don't care. I am not a yarn snob in any way. So I have 3 patterns laid out, and I don't know where to start with them. They're all really pretty, and I don't know where my skill level is with baby stuff. I have never sewn in a sleeve, ever. Everything I do is raglan, top down, sleeve sewn in. You just shove your sleeve in scrap yarn, you finish the body, and you go back and pick up the stitches. I have never sewn in a sleeve. I've sewn up a sleeve, but I've never sewn in one, like set in a sleeve, is that the right term? So I've gone and picked ones I know how to do, and I'm not taking the easy route. I'm taking the easy route. There's no other way to explain that one. I'm taking the easy route. I will learn eventually how to set in a sleeve, but right now it's not on my list to do. It's definitely not even on my list to do when I make my own jumper. I am so going raglan with my own jumper. So that's the only thing I want to cast on. It's time that I get my head in the baby zone, and I just make so many beautiful things for Jellybean. And when I say Jellybean, that is the name I have given my goddaughter. Kirsty went for a scan one day and she said it looked like a jelly bean, and I just went round and said, I have declared the baby Jellybean. They have obviously not named it Jellybean, but I have nicknamed it Jellybean. So we have now covered foes, whipped, and what I want to cast on. So now it's just on to everything else. So I'm going to start with the yarn club that I bought. Now everyone that bought the yarn club should have got theirs by now. They were sent out over a week ago. If you have ordered the Yarny Love Spring yarn club and you have not received your order, this is your official spoiler warning. Do not watch until I tell you. So the packaging itself is really nice. On the front it has a big old Yarny Love mail, which alerted me to the fact that this was my yarn club. And then when I open it up, I am alerted to the fact that there's something pretty inside. Some bright yellow tissue paper, which is very fitting considering this is for a spring box. Excuse the crinkly. And I'll show you the non-yarn stuff. Let's see if I can... Yeah, I can't separate them. So, first of all, there's these beads. No, not beads, buttons. And so we've got these contrasting flower ones. So we've got yellow on purple and then purple on yellow, and they are flowers. I've got 2 of each, so 2 yellow on purple and 2 purple on yellow. And then these buttons, which I just absolutely adore. These are knit stitched buttons, so it looks like knitting. It looks like stockinette knitting. I don't know how well you're going to pick that up because they are still in the cellophane, but these are absolutely beautiful. There's 3 of those and I love them to pieces. So next up is this really lovely tea light. Did not mean to drop that. So this really lovely, not doing so well today. This really lovely bright lime green tea light, which I've still to use. I literally received this parcel, opened it up and then packaged it all away again so I could show you guys. Next up is this lovely clay keyring, and it is I'll get the name, a tulip, no, daffodil. I nearly said tulip, but it's a daffodil and it's on a really big D-ring keyring and it's awesome, and I'm going to put it on one of my project bags from going forward. Now, I'm really surprised that this has lasted in my box and I have not eaten it. It's a Lindt chocolate bunny paw, all ready for Easter. So I've not snaffled that yet, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to eat it in a minute this is finished recording. Now, the yarn itself, oh my goodness, this yarn is absolutely beautiful. I ordered the 4-ply sparkle, and it is 75% merino superwash, 20% nylon and 5% sparkle. And it's 400 meters per 100 grams. That 20-minute thing sneaks up on me every time. So, we've got 4%, I don't know where it cut off, so I'm just going to repeat myself. It's 4-ply, 5% sparkle, 75% merino superwash, 20% nylon, and it's 400 meters per 100 grams. So, I genuinely have no idea where it cut off, so I'll go through the colours again. I'm sorry if you've already seen this. I need a better camera, or at least a filming, like a record. What do you call those things? Camcorder. So, we've got a lovely green that goes into a really beautiful kind of daffodil-y yellow, purple, and then it goes into this lovely dusky pink, and then it goes into more purple, and it's just stunning. It's pretty much how you should class spring if you're going to put it into colours and into one yarn, because you've got the green for the grass, the yellow for the daffodils, the pinks and the purples, and even a wee smidge of blue or lilac that for me is tulips, and all the crocuses that come up about now, and it's just so pretty, and she's done a fantastic job. I say she, I'm not even sure. I'm so sorry, I don't know who it is that is behind Yarny Love, I just know I love them. Their yarns are fantastic, and for anyone that is curious, here is the card. Let's see if it will zoom and focus. So Yarny Love, they're on Etsy, they're on Instagram, go give them a wee check if you want. It's fair to say when I came home I was so happy to finally receive my box. I had no idea when it was going to come, because they did say it wasn't going to ship till the first week of March. And it was just so pretty. They've put a lot of thought into it. I was expecting just the yarn. I was not expecting any of the other things that I got that came with the box. And it was just such a treat to open, and if I could afford to do a monthly box for the rest of the year, I would do it, but as it is, I can't. So that was my treat, and what a treat it was, let's put it that way. I'm so happy with it. So, just checking why my phone is buzzing. So that was my yarn club, which I'm going to tick off my show notes so that I don't talk about it again, because I've gone out of order. Can't draw with my left hand. Right, so moving on. Where to start? I say moving on and then I can't even think what I want to talk about. I will talk about Edinburgh Yarn Festival. So, my camera keeps doing that thing again. I don't know if it's stopped recording. So, Edinburgh Yarn Festival was amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. My day started at 6 o'clock in the morning, which is even earlier than I would normally get up for work. And basically the reason for that is I had to be on a train to get into Glasgow for a specific train to Edinburgh. And I thought I was being a smartass when I would go to the station before my normal stop. Like before the stop I would normally get to, in the hopes that it would be quieter and I would get a seat. Lo and behold, I did not realise the train that I was planning to get was a direct train and went from Gourock to Greenock West. So I was at Fort Matilda, which is between those two stations. And lo and behold, to my absolute shock and horror, could see the train coming and was like, the train was gone. So I was so quick to get online and check for the next train to make sure that it got me into Glasgow for 9 o'clock for my train to Edinburgh, and thankfully it was, because otherwise I'd have maybe had to get a taxi to the station up to Glasgow, or I don't even know what I'd have done. I think I'd have just sat down on the floor and cried. But that's the last time I tried to be a smartass and think ahead and try to beat the crowds. Never doing it again. But I got to Glasgow, that was fine. Because I had to get a later train, I didn't have enough time to go to like Costa or go to Tesco's for some food or anything. So I literally got on the train and pulled out my knitting, and this lady opposite me had kind of not been staring at me, but was observing what I was doing, and she spotted that I was on some Knit Pros, my Knit Pro circulars, and she was asking about like the quality of needle. Like, oh, I can see you like a good knitting needle, and I was just like, well, if you don't, it's not an enjoyable process. So we had about a 5-10 minute chat about knitting, and I did ask her if she was going to Edinburgh Yarn Festival, but it was just so that she'd been in Glasgow already and she was actually going home, and I think she was going down to like Leeds or something, and so she was not attending the event, and I think I made her a wee bit jealous, to be fair. Not on purpose, but I think she didn't know it was on this weekend. She maybe would have changed her plans to go home if she had known it was on. So that was fine. She then went to read about her book. I then went to knit, and I had reserved a seat on the train, and I had reserved a seat that was at the window and was meant to be facing forward. I don't know how they messed this up, but I was going backwards the entire way, and I could have technically sat and changed, but I wasn't sure when the person that had reserved the opposite seat was going to get on, so I just stayed where I was, and I kind of had to angle myself away from the window because I don't know what's happened now since I got older, but I can't sit backwards on a train. If I'm not at the window, I can do it no bother, but if I'm right at the window, my eyes start hurting, I start feeling a wee bit sick, and I just get very uncomfortable. So I had to kind of angle myself away from the window, and I just kind of focused in on my knitting, and I enjoyed a Kit Kat on the train there. That was my only sustenance for a while, and I got to Edinburgh. And ironically, the train I was on to get me to Edinburgh passed the station at the Corn Exchange. So, got to Haymarket and I stood waiting, and a lovely lady, I think her name was Veda, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, was waiting to get off as well, and I could kind of see her kind of wanting to ask, and then she eventually was like, are you going to Edinburgh Yarn Festival? And I was like, yeah! and then I kind of was like, how are you getting out to the corn exchange? Because my plan was to wait the half an hour to get the train from Haymarket out to Slateford. And because I hadn't checked the buses, it was originally going to just be a taxi for me, but Marcus sent me a message on Ravelry saying, by the way, do you know there's a train out there that you can get? So I was originally just going to get the train or a taxi out. I hadn't even considered the buses because buses in Edinburgh are a nightmare. And so Veda very kindly let me tag along with her while she got the bus out. And we met a lovely lady, Leslie, on the bus who makes some amazing stitch markers. Literally from the minute I got on the bus, I could not help but admire this shawl pin she had on that had stitch markers attached to the shawl pin. So I need to get on her website and check that out for definite. Like, I need one of these. Literally from the minute I seen her on the bus, I was just like, I want one of those. So Leslie and Veda and I made our way to the corn exchange, and the queue was around the corner, but I don't know what I was expecting, because it was just after 10, so the doors hadn't long opened. And to be fair, I did technically have early entry pass, but I didn't take advantage of that. I didn't want to be that person. And so we waited in the queue, we got in, and then I remembered I had to go pick up my podcaster's pass. So I lost track of Veda and Leslie after that, unfortunately. And I went and picked up my podcaster's pass, and I met Louise, who is lovely. She is Knit British. Hers is an audio podcast, but she is so lovely. She organised the podcasters lounge and was just so welcoming. I was a bit anxious about the entire day, to be honest, and she just made me feel so welcome, and it's kind of like being welcomed with huge open arms, and you're just like, oh my god, these are my people. I am with my people. And so my first plan of attack was to get a project bag. That was one thing I had to leave with yesterday. I didn't care about anything else. I needed a new project bag. So I said that to Louise, and she kind of pointed me in the right direction, and off I went on the hunt for tea and a project bag. The tea queue was ridiculous, so I didn't get any tea, and I went to the market stall and was just overwhelmed. Oh my goodness, I had no idea where to start. I had no idea where to look. There was so much colour. I felt like a magpie that day. I was kind of like, pretty, pretty, so much pretty. And about 5 minutes into browsing, I was... what's the word? I met Fiona. Let's put it that way. I met Fiona. She done exactly what I said in my podcast, which was come up to me and say, Kirsty, I watch your podcast, and she done it. So kudos to her, because she was like the only one. And so Fiona and I walked around for a while, and we seen Stephen West. You could not miss Stephen West. He was literally as you walk in the door, and the most eccentric dressed person in the entire hall. And we seen Stephen West, and we walked down the first row together, and then her friend showed up and wanted to go check out some spinning wheels, so I just let them go do that, and I wandered around because I was aware that the podcasters lounge started at 12:30. But I had no idea where to start. There were so many pretty things, there was so much colour, and I wanted to try and be good. I didn't want to spend a small fortune, but at the same point, I had been saving up for this event for a while, and I was going to treat myself. I had given myself a budget, and I blew that out the water by an extra £100. And I don't regret it. I got so many pretty things, and as my mum puts it, you live once, enjoy it. Like, seriously. So I'm going to show you a few things of what I've got, and I am now officially on a yarn ban. until I think it's the 28th of April, to which I am then off to the Edinburgh Knitting and Stitching Show. And that's literally just after my birthday. My birthday is the 22nd of April, so the Knitting and Stitching Show is just after I get paid and just after my birthday, so I may treat myself again. But between now and then after that, I am officially on a yarn ban. Like, no yarn at all. I'm going to kind of do what Katie from Inside Number 23 does, which is the whole, yay, 50 points for Gryffindor. And I am going to stash bust like there is no tomorrow. I'm going to use up what I've got. I'm going to make so many pretty things. It's going to be unbelievable. But I digress. I'm going to start with some yummy things. So, I spent a small fortune at Skein Queen. And I'm going to show you one of the things I got from Skein Queen. And the yarn base is called Wriggle, which is W-R-I-G-G-L-E. It's a 100% superwash merino 4-ply fingering weight single ply, and it's 366 meters for the 100 gram skein. Are you ready for this? It's so pretty. It's like a mermaid tail, and it's so beautiful and so yummy. And it's so soft, like, I cannot wait to make something with this. And I don't have a clue what I'm going to make. I'll take this band off because it's hiding some of the colour. So it's just beautiful. And I spent quite a while at Skein Queen's stall. And put it this way. I spent £74 in total at Skein Queen alone. That was the stall I spent the most money at one point. That would be my mailman, with quite a heavy delivery by the sounds of it. Oh, I'll check it out later. Yeah, so I spent £74 in total at Skein Queen, and I don't regret a single penny of it because it's all beautiful. I ended up getting my mum a wee something from there, and I will show you the other things in the upcoming weeks. I'm going to try and push it out for a few weeks because, as I said, yarn ban, so no stash acquisition. So another stall I went to was Spin City, and for anyone that knows Spin City, she is so lovely, she is so cheery. She had the 1950s dress that I just loved. Her stuff was just beautiful. I could have bought all the bats and all the roving and even some of the drop spindles. I don't drop spindle as much as I used to, but oh my goodness, I could have spent all my money at that stall if there weren't other things I wanted to get. But I went with the idea of not buying any more roving or fibre until I've used up what I got. But I promised myself that if I seen any faux cashmere, I would just buy it. I would treat myself to faux cashmere. Now, some people think, oh, it's cashmere, that's a bad thing. But this is faux cashmere. This is completely different. This is nice, this is soft, this is beautiful, and oh my god. Look at those colours. Like, I know the other one was like mermaid tails, but this is mermaid tails. There's no colourway, there is no card, but it's soft. I want to lie in a bed of this. I'm doing a Mina at the moment with all the squish, and I had to get it. I had to treat myself. Like my mum says, you live once, just do it. So let's zoom in on some of the colours here. So we've got this gorgeous kind of pinky purple into a bluey green, some splodges throughout, some paler colour. I mean, look how fluffy that looks. Oh, you can't believe how excited I am to spin this. Last time I got faux cashmere was when I was at Woolfest, which was at least 3 years ago, if not longer, was the last time I got my hands on faux cashmere, and I I can't get enough of this stuff. I think it is beautiful. I think it is lovely to spin with, but you need to get the tension just right for faux cashmere, I think. And I don't understand the tension on my spinning wheel, I'm not going to lie. And it's a bit of an experiment for me, so I need to look into that before I spin that, because I don't want to waste a single bit of it. What else? So, I also treated myself to some more Haya needles, but I got the bamboo circulars instead of the sharps, because those little buggers are not lidding. Not kidding. They are sharp, especially when you've got cold hands and your skin is as fragile as it is. So I got the wooden 3.5. There they are there. They are tiny. They're on the 9-inch fixed circular. So these are fantastic for socks, and I'm hoping with the 3.5, I got these deliberately, is that I can make a pair of mittens with them. So, is it mittens? No, it's fingerless mitts, sorry. So I have a project in mind for these needles. I just need the yarn for it, but I will just have to work with what I've got. So they're the bamboo circular knitting needles, which are a natural feel, smooth as silk, and flexible cables with perfect joints. Now I took these out the pack whilst the lady of the stall was stood there, and I actually kind of did feel the wood, and they are smooth, because I know some bamboo is quite sticky, but I didn't obviously test it against any wool, so time will tell whether I like the bamboo or whether I do prefer the sharps. I can feel this. Edinburgh Yarn Festival were doing a book. They were doing a Wool Tribe magazine, and it's this magazine with the lovely wool at the back. Well, lovely wool at the back, lovely sheep at the back for Edinburgh Yarn Festival. And it's already kind of teasing me with the 2017 Yarn Festival. Sorry, that was my phone. Actually, sorry. I'll explain why I need to read this text message. Oh shush. So this is the 2016 Festival Companion. It talks about the vendors, it's got some really great patterns in there and some fantastic articles. I have not given it the attention it deserves. I should have read it on the train home, but I will show you one of the things I am dying to make. So there's a wee neckerchief in here, and it ties at the back of the neck. And I want to make one of these so badly. Let's see, this pattern makes us both so happy. Mika wanted a neckerchief, something to use up the leftovers of utterly beautiful yarns, which we all keep in the hope of using in a colourwork project. Maybe some edging. They're far too lovely to throw away, and so sit in our stashes for years. Something with an I-cord edging and a button at the back. A couple of tries later, Joe had come up with this. It's a simple pattern with a few regularly shaped short rows to even out the gauge. So, I'm curious what yarn it is. Let me just find the actual pattern. Neckerchief, where are you hiding? Ta-da! Found it! So it calls for 25 to 30 grams approximately of 4-ply fingering to iron weight yarn. So I'm assuming you can go from 4-ply to iron and just change the gauge. Calls for 3.75mm needles on a 4-ply or 4.5mm on a DK. And it looks like a really simple pattern. Pattern notes say yarn over short rows are used at the edges of the neckerchief to allow it to sit flat despite the difference in gauge between the slipped I-cord edging and the relaxed garter stitch. So I'm certainly going to cast that on, because I am one of those people that keep the ends of yarns in the hopes of finding something to make with it. So I will be giving this magazine a wee flick through and giving it the love it deserves and giving it the attention it deserves. And I had forgotten I had bought this. So I was walking around and then seen it on a stall, and I just turned to them and go, I ordered one of these, where do I pick it up? So the people I'd asked couldn't have been more helpful, and considering I wasn't actually buying anything from their stall, because I was just kind of like, oh my god, this magazine, they actually pointed me in the right direction of where I could go pick up my copy. And I'd forgotten to print everything off to say that I had ordered one, so I literally just showed the lady an email from my PayPal account saying that I'd actually bought one. And she was so lovely. She's like, oh, here it is, like, here's your copy, have a lovely day. And I popped it straight in my bag with the intention of reading it on the train home. That being all said, I didn't, and I've only really just picked it up today. So, in general, I had a fantastic time at Yarn Festival. I was there by myself for the majority of it. I know I ran into Fiona, but I turned up on my own and I left on my own, and that was an interesting experience. I've never gone to something like that by myself, but I mean, I met Veda and Leslie on the way out, I met Fiona inside, I got to meet Louise, I met Vero from Along the Lanes, who is lovely in real life. And if you're watching this, not that I expect you to, totally should be wearing more wigs more often. It screws with people's heads and it's fun. Only she'll really get that comment. Everyone was just so nice. Like, I felt so bad whenever I knocked someone with my bag or kind of tried to turn around and hit them, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And then it only got worse because my bag started getting fuller, and then I had 2 extra bags, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna keep hitting people. But everyone was just so nice. Like, they were just so interested in the yarn that they just weren't so bothered about people accidentally knocking into them. And I was stood at a stall where Cece was, who is one of the geeky girls, and I was buying some project bags, and I just turned around and someone was like, Kirsty, and I was like, and then there she was, Charlotte of Charlotte Knits, if you watch her, and I don't know what it is, and apparently she gets this all the time, but she is so tall, and I don't know how I'd managed to get in my head that she was going to be like my height or smaller, but I was just kind of like, wow, you're tall. And basically from that moment on, Charlotte, Paul, which is her partner, and I just kind of hung around for the rest of the day, and it was so awesome because Charlotte is also a Scottish podcaster, and it's nice to have someone. I dropped something. Oh, it's a needle. One of my darning needles. It's nice to have someone that understands your accent and is not constantly asking for you to slow down or explain the meaning of one of your words. So it was a breath of fresh air because a lot of people there were from Edinburgh, believe it or not. And they have a totally different accent. So they're the East Coast, and I am literally on the West Coast. I am a stone's throw away from the water. And their accent against our accent is so different. And I think it's like any town that has a opposite kind of capital. So a lot of people end up coming to Glasgow, even though Edinburgh's our capital. And I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I met Charlotte and it's just so nice to run into someone with like the same accent as me and that I could talk to casually and not have to worry about my pronunciation or try and not use slang words that I understand the meaning of but some people don't. And excuse me, I should not drink fizzy juice on a podcast. So we ended up doubling back to the podcasters meetup, and I tried to introduce her to Louise, but Louise was just so run off her feet, because she had arranged the podcasters lounge. So maybe one day I'll get the two of them introduced, or just point them in the right direction of each other. And we ended up trying to get a seat and get a drink and something to eat, because by this point I'd literally had a Kit Kat. A 2-finger Kit Kat was all I'd had all day, and we ended up going to the pub next door just to sit down because my back was aching. My bags were really heavy, and I just needed a wee break. So we ended up in the pub next door and we had a really good blether and a good laugh. And then obviously it was back to the market hall, where I totally enabled Charlotte to treat herself to some yarn, and I'm not remotely sorry for that. The girl deserved a treat, and she definitely treated herself to some lovely things. And she was a wee bit more restrained than I was. I blew my budget out of the water, and she was very like, oh, but it's this much and I have this much, whereas I was just like, screw it, I don't care. So we done the market another time, and we debated trying to get a picture with Stephen West, and I think both of us were maybe too chicken to attempt it. So if he's there next year, we've kind of said that we'll do it next year. And I just had such a great day between meeting everyone and meeting Charlotte and hanging out with Charlotte a wee bit. And I was literally about to show you something, but it's just unravelled. But it's so nice to be in a community of people that are so welcoming, what am I doing? So welcoming and so understanding of the world of yarn and everything else. And this is not going to plan. Ah, there we go, got it. But I felt like I was in a very comfortable and safe environment. Everyone was just so nice, even when you were banging into someone, like, not intentionally obviously, but like everyone was just so enthusiastic, and everyone was kind of talking to each other and talking about like what was at each stall and what they would make and what they thought of a combination of colours, and they were just so helpful. Like I couldn't ask to be in a better community. Like Charlotte and I had been discussing the fact that she used to do makeup, my sister's a makeup artist, and how that world can be very brutal and cutthroat, whereas our culture, our community, it's so supportive and so nice. And I mean, like, it goes back to what I was saying at the very start of the podcast. People have just been so caring to me and go, oh, I hope you're feeling better, and I'm so sorry you're feeling really rough at the moment. And I could not ask to be part of a better community of people. You're all so lovely. I haven't even had the chance to meet everybody, but the people that came up to me and were like, oh my god, you're Kirsty, and I was like, yeah, and it was so nice, and I would do it all over again. And I would do it every day if I could, like, just be around fellow knitters and enablers and yummy yarns and amazing patterns, because I bought a couple of patterns and I can't wait to cast them on. And I have 2 more things to show you, and then I'm going to cut this podcast short because it's well over an hour now. And I don't want to make it much longer. I don't want to keep you guys for much longer. So the first thing I want to show you is from Fiona, and it's so lovely. And I need to start a Cozy Memories blanket, and this is going to be the first square that I make. And I'm going to hold it up like this. Oh, no. So she has gifted me a little mini skein of hand spun yarn, and her friend actually spun the yarn, and she was saying how, this was one of the better sections of the yarn. But even if it wasn't one of the better sections, I am just so touched that she has thought of me to give this to. So thank you so much, Fiona. This is honestly, if I start a memory square blanket, this is going to be the first square that I put in, and I hope you enjoy your minis that you got from me as well. So that's the first one, and then the second one I am just so overwhelmed by. On Thursday morning, as I was either on the first train or leaving Greenock, I was on my Instagram account, I was scrolling through everyone else's pictures, and Charlotte had put up a picture of some project bags she had made, and I was so jealous. They looked amazing and I wanted one, and I was going to be really cheeky and say, can you make me a bag? And I thought, no, that's so cheeky, like, don't do it, don't do it. So I restrained myself from doing it, and I just liked the picture and I said how beautiful they were. So when Charlotte introduced herself at Edinburgh Yarn Festival, I had some stuff for Charlotte. I gave her the smaller hat that I had made, the smaller Star Wars hat that didn't fit me, and I had some mini skeins for her. I also had some earrings, which ironically I now realise that she has plugs in her ears, so she can't actually put pierced earrings in, but I gave her them anyway. Maybe she can turn them into like some pins or something, or attach them to a bag, I'm not sure. And then she turned around and said she had something for me. And I am still so overwhelmed by this. I can't believe it. She gave me one of the bags she made. And if you zoom in, you can see that the pattern, the material is these lovely bees. Which is just so fitting because my podcast is the Little Bee Podcast. And she is my fellow Star Wars geek. And look at this, the Star Wars Stormtrooper. Now, I've not seen the new one, and I'm now doubting whether that is a Stormtrooper, because it is a new style, but I'm sure it's a Stormtrooper. Please correct me if I'm wrong, because I've still not seen the new movie. And there's a Progress Keeper that is a neon green teacup, which is just so cute. The band is a contrasting pattern, which is just, it's so vintage and so beautiful. I love it. And inside is the same material from the band. It's a box bag, so it stands up, and it's so beautiful and it's so well made. Like, the quality is astounding. And she was saying how she'd been having trouble with her sewing machine, and how when she oiled it and stuff like that, it just started working like a dream, and she'd made this bag for me, and I'm so touched, like, actually so touched. And I love it. It's my new project bag, and it's just fantastic. So those are my two show and tells that have been gifted to me, and gifted out of sheer kindness of other people, and I love them both to pieces. One is going into a memory blanket that I do plan on starting. It's just, I have my crochet blanket that I'm still working on that's not been touched in 3 weeks. And then I needed a new project bag, and that one is definitely big enough for my future projects. And it just goes back to the community that we are in being so lovely and so generous and so supportive. Like, Fiona had never met me before, and this is the first time Charlotte and I have met, even though we've been talking online. And Charlotte has been kind enough to invite me along to the knit picks, or the pick knits, I get the two confused, meetup in Glasgow tomorrow. And I've been meaning to go to one of these meetups for a while now, but I get, like I've said before, I get quite anxious at these kind of events and new things, and it's more in case I get sick whilst I'm out. And so I've decided to be a big girl and be brave and just go to the event. And Charlotte said that she'll meet me beforehand, so I don't have to go in on my own. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to meeting more like-minded knitters and stuff, and be part of an even bigger community, and just sit and knit as well, which is going to be awesome. I also plan on showing Charlotte how to drop spindle, so I need to dig out some fibre to bring along for her to practice on. I need to remember my drop spindle as well. I also plan on letting her borrow my Swift so that she can actually cake up some of the yarn I persuaded her to buy yesterday, and anything else she wants to use it for, so she's got that for a couple of weeks for all she wants. Because my mum and I have got one each, so I don't need mine right now. But I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone that watches my podcast. I know this has been a really long episode, a lot longer than my normal ones, I think, and I know I'm just making it longer by saying all this. But I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone. I've passed the 100 subscriber mark, which is just amazing. I know there's a lot of people out there that have over 1,000 subscribers, over 2,000. Mina's got over 5. But you know what? You, my 100 lovely viewers, I love you all individually. Thank you for coming and watching all my videos. Thank you for coming back and watching them. I know most people say this at the start of their video, and I may have this backwards, but you're all fantastic. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you like this video and you don't subscribe, why not? So come say hi on the forum, send me a message on Ravelry, send me a message on Instagram, leave a comment on this video. I will try to get back to you as quickly as I possibly can, and I hope you all have a lovely week filled with knitting and crochet and general yarny goodness. I may have a surprise up my sleeve for the next episode, but bear with me on that and don't quote me on it. I will show off more of my stash enhancements as well. And I just hope you all have a fantastic week. Thank you for stopping by, and I will see you in 2 weeks' time. Bye!